Hi there. My name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I want to welcome you back or welcome you for the first time to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So, again, if you're new here, welcome. Grateful to have you. If you've been with me for a while, I'm so grateful to be sharing this journey with you. I do believe that we're meant to journey together and that we can learn from one another and be a part of actually supporting each other and getting further down that path of living our life as we were designed or created to be. And that's what we're doing here. So, again, happy to be sharing this time with you. Okay, so a couple things, just reminders. I don't have your answers. I believe that you do. And oftentimes, when we hear someone else share, it nudges something, loosens a bit of information or stored wisdom or a little nugget that gives us a clue to our next step. And it's my hope that in each episode you hear something. If so, take a hold of it, apply it to your life. If it fits, if it supports you, if it encourages and inspires you, great, hold on to it. If it doesn't, set it back down again. Come back, listen and see if you hear another one. All right. So, okay, just to clear up, yes, we're still in the playoff season of Major League Baseball. The last episode was a quote from Mookie. I don't know that it was an original quote from him, but I heard him say it, that pressure was a privilege. I still feel that's true. The pressure is still on, even though the Dodgers are up 3-0 with the Brewers, and they have a game tonight, which they could wrap up this particular series and be headed into the World Series. And their opponents are still battling. They're 2-2 right now. Tonight will put somebody ahead 3-2, and they've got to go back to Toronto and play some more games. Anyway, it's exciting and I'm having fun. And if they go to the World Series, I'll go down and watch a game with my grandson. And, the life lessons are all around us, and they're in elite level sports as well. The winning, the losing, the injuries, the how we recover, how we support our teammates, the slumps we're in, how we get out of them, all of that. And I'm not saying you have to participate in sports, but it's another avenue for being observing and listening and learning some of those lessons. Anyway, that's where I am in the baseball world right now. And then in my own healing journey, it's actually the source of the topic of this episode. So it's like getting back to nature, or you could say returning to what's natural. So I mentioned in a previous episode that I'd become aware of some issues I was having. I called the nurse. She said they could be possible side effects to a medication I was put on last spring. And she called to ask me if the side effects had subsided after going off of that medication. And I said they had. And of course, they want you to go back on to see if they come back. And I said, you know what? I actually don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. And, she shared with me the pros, the cons, the doctor's viewpoint, and said, and it's your choice. Like, your health is your choice, even though perhaps it doesn't align with what the doctor chooses. Now, when I showed up I haven't pursued much in mainstream medicine in my lifetime, but when I showed up at the heart specialist, I was so willing and available to just empower, support, and go along with that program. And I did. I didn't question it. I'm kind of one of those people that when I'm given a directive, I'm a good kid. I do it. I follow through. I follow the instructions. I did that. And it was this kind of intuitive hit, whatever that is, that whatever you want to call that ancient wisdom, that divine guidance that said to me, like, ask about side effects. And when I did, and the nurse said, yeah, they could be, it opened up sort of a world for me. So sometimes asking questions guides you into that next discovery. And it did for me in this case. So then I started to look up this medication and the side effects. And that's what led me, as I mentioned previously, that Some of the side effects were fatigue and sleepiness. Now, I'm not saying those contributed to the accident I had, but I am saying they contributed to the experience I was having prior to the accident throughout the summer that sounded like this is how I expressed it. I just shouldn't be this tired. I'm having to talk myself into doing things I like to do, like swimming. I love to swim. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, we'll go swimming again, which is so unlike me. Or even just the chores that I do. I love the work that I do. And there was just this, ugh. And so, anyway, I went back to our naturopath she's actually an MD, but she's not part of the network and the mainstream medical world with insurance and Medicare and all that. So I went back to her and I just shared with her my experience and the choices I was making. And I think I just wanted her to know I was going to make that choice anyway. And she's really good about, you make the choice, it's your choice. But she did say she's very educated, and she gave me some facts about the impacts of tests that are run on different things. So again, there's lots of information to choose. And then I started looking up other alternative sources. And some of those sources were things that people had sent me when I was choosing to follow my heart specialist. And so I hadn't really paid that much attention because I was committed to following in the choice that I had made. So that's one of the lessons is when you make a choice, empower that choice. Don't question and second guess it the whole time. And then at some point, if you make another choice, great, empower that choice. And that's where I am right now. And what I'm telling you is I'm returning to nature. I'm returning to more natural. I'm off all medication. It's been 13 days now. And I actually feel more like myself. I have more energy. I'm not struggling with that kind of talking myself into doing things. I feel lighter, freer. I am sleeping later. I used to get up at 4:30. I'm not anymore. I wake up still, but then I lay in bed or I pray or I read, and I usually get another hour sleep or rest, and I'm actually not feeling as sleepy or tired either. So again, we may never know exactly the cause of something or the impact of something. But now that I'm pursuing more natural or alternatives to cholesterol, I'm actually being educated in a different way. And now I'm empowering that choice. Now, down the road, if I have some other experience, I may change my mind again. I think it's Ringo Starr one time when someone asked them a question about something and he was like, I changed my mind. And I think it's good to remember that we can change our minds. And a lot of what we've been talking about in this series is that you're not stuck with the way that you think or the habitual actions that you take, whatever those might be. That there are options. There are always options. There's more freedom than perhaps you and I can imagine. And yet sometimes we're trapped inside of our own viewpoints, perhaps what your algorithm's sending you, or just habitual ways of looking or learning or thinking or doing or saying, and you're not stuck with those. So that's where I am right now. I've changed my mind and I'm following another path. I'll see where that leads. I'll empower it for the time being. And so far, right now, I actually feel great. I'm still not driving on 200, the main road that leads between us and Montana and us and southern Idaho or Coeur d'Alene or Sandpoint, but I will drive around town. And that feels good right now. I got a ride to a meeting at church the other night, and I can't think the last time that I've ridden with somebody else somewhere. because sometimes we don't do that as long as we have our own transportation. And it was sweet and powerful. And I met some amazing people. And I'm grateful that I did that. And I would never have done that. Otherwise, I would have just driven myself. So, okay. So that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about the choices that you're making and empowering those choices. And if the choices that you're making don't feel as if they're serving you, leading you towards health or well being, because you were designed to be healthy, you were designed to live a long, happy, healthy, fulfilling, fruitful life. And if that's not the experience you're having, then take a look at the choices you're making and see if perhaps there's another option. There's another choice. There perhaps may be a whole nother avenue of expertise or education or wisdom or guidance that may take you down a different path. And remember, you can explore different paths. And you're not stuck with that either. You can always return to the path you were on, or perhaps there's another alternative, even to the second alternative that you're pursuing. And I think that's important to know, especially in this world where we're inundated with so much instant information. And you have to think about how that information gets to you, because we know that what we seek, what we search on our devices is tallied and tracked and calculated. And the things that come in to your device are tallied and tracked and calculated. And they're meant to feed the interest you've already indicated that you have, which, hey, that can be great. It's like a personal shopper seeking for you what it is that you're looking for. But maybe if you start to look for something else, you'll start to discover that you'll be fed other versions of insights and information and wisdoms, that they're out there, and that you have a lot more freedom to choose than you may think. Now, the subline of this particular episode is called Making Healthy Choices. The assumption there is obviously that you and I are going to choose health, well-being. And, there's always a question of, well, what is that? What is health and well-being? So what I'm going to share with you is just my view. And my view of health and well-being is that it continues to lead me towards the best version of myself. And that could be spiritually, psychologically, physically, emotionally. It leads me into what feels like an open space. I feel there's room for growth and development, that it expands my consciousness. It gives me more options, more insights, more freedom. And I can express that. I can be kinder and more loving, more generous, more helpful, more compassionate, more empathetic. And those things are the result of the environment that I'm choosing for myself at this time. So making healthy choices leaves you feeling better. And health is a right that we have. It is an option for us to be able to choose. And so for me right now, I'm choosing nature or more natural. And you could be anywhere on the spectrum, and there's no judgment to anyone. But make sure that what you're choosing is leading you towards the best expression, the best version of yourself, because you were designed to be something amazing, something incredible. And I'm cheering you on to becoming more in all of that. Have a beautiful day. I'll be here next week, and I look forward to sharing with you then.